Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Mainly Animals on LRTV. I'm your host, Bobby Silcott, and today's show, the topic today is a very serious topic. It's regarding sexual assault in the military and service dogs that are paired with them. And my guest today is Simone Emmons, founder of Service Dog Strong here in Maine.
Yes.
Yeah. The topic is unlike anything really we've ever had on the show here, but I feel it's really important, so
Well,
I'm pleased to have you here today.
we really appreciate that, and I think getting the word out about sexual assault will make it not taboo anymore. So I think it's really important to have this subject be talked about.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Oh, absolutely. So before we get started, if you don't mind, you just tell a little bit about Service Dog Strong, how you founded this, maybe what brought it about. And
Yeah. So Service Dog Strong started a few years ago, and we've been a nonprofit for 2 years now, 501c3, a Maine nonprofit.
that's valuable, I would imagine.
Yeah, it's that was a huge thing we had to pay for, and get done. But I'll tell you a little bit about my story and then the start of Service Dog Strong. I joined the military, and during my time in the military, my short time in the military, I was assaulted. And due to the time of the military and how they handled sexual assault and things like that, I got discharged, and this has been known to happen to many people in my situation, that we were showing signs of PTSD, and the military diagnosed it as a personality disorder, and they didn't give me legal representation or any help for that matter. So I was discharged with no medical care, no income, no housing, and dealing with PTSD from a sexual assault. So I had a rough time, needless to say. I lived 10 years with undiagnosed PTSD because with not having medical help or attention or funds to get insurance or anything like that, working on a very low income.
So you had no VA assistance at all?
No,
Nothing.
no.
For 10 years?
Yeah, because of the way they did my my discharge on the personality disorder, it was considered not honorable or not dishonorable. It was uncharacterized. So 10 years later, I married somebody who was also in the Army, and my husband is a war veteran, and I had heard a lot about PTSD related to combat. And with living with my husband, I put two and two together, and with all the information and a lot of things you heard about PTSD with combat, I just said, wow, maybe my husband has PTSD from being in Iraq and Afghanistan. And I said, I'm going to reach out to the vet center and see if I can learn ways to deal with living with somebody with PTSD, not knowing all the time that really I had PTSD myself. So, and finally reaching out to a vet center, I was able to get help through counseling help through them because I was married to somebody that was in the military, because I didn't want to talk about my military service for a long time. I was very ashamed about it, and because I didn't realize that I wasn't to blame for my assault. I wasn't to blame for the actions and things that happened afterwards, because I had no resources, and the military environment is very shaming, and especially years ago when I was in. I do hope it's changing now, and it seems like it is, but yeah, my counselor just said, well, instead of talking about his military experience, let's talk about yours. And then eventually it just all came out, and it was a very freeing thing to hear that, no, this wasn't, you were raped. You have signs of PTSD from this incident, and it wasn't your fault, I was thinking, I shouldn't have gone out with that person. I was, being promiscuous, by going on a date. Maybe I was wearing something funny. All these things.
Thoughts.
Yeah, all these thoughts made me feel guilty about the fact that somebody did something to me that I did not want. So finally uncovering the truth that I was raped and that I didn't get the right help that I needed, it was so freeing to me. And I was able to finally deal with things that I've been living with that I didn't even realize weren't normal. Having social anxiety, having fears and nightmares, and self-medicating, drinking, and drugs, risky behavior. These were things that I had just not realized were not normal coping skills. They were coping the best that I could, but not really achieving a full life and potential that I should have. So once I was diagnosed with PTSD, I really started doing an in-depth search of ways to heal myself and ways to get better and understand PTSD more. So I had a long history of counseling, meditation, reaching out, chiropractic care, acupuncture. I was trying everything I could to get back those 10 years that in my mind were kind of a waste, because I was just living with all this PTSD and not getting help. So I went on a huge search to find help for my PTSD. And in years of doing that, it led me to a service dog. I researched service dogs as a way to help cope with PTSD. And a lot of it, again, the information was combat PTSD. But I found an organization that, since I did have my DD-214 and since I really was a veteran, even though I didn't feel like I deserved the term, I found that organization was able to give me a service dog. And I was, during this time, I was trying to get pregnant, or when I was pregnant. I have 3 kids now. But so I was searching for a lot of non-pharmaceutical help for my PTSD, just for my personal reasons, and from drug addiction in the past. I felt that a non-pharmaceutical route was the best for me.
Via service dogs.
Yes, yeah, that was a huge attraction to me, that, or even if I was on meds, I could accompany my service dog with me, It really seemed like a wonderful connection between PTSD and finding an answer that didn't carry side effects with it.
Right.
So so once I got my service dog,
which is
Gunner, here he is.
Let's introduce Gunner here.
Yeah.
Gunner's your.
He's with me all the time.
He was your original service dog.
Yes, yeah.
How long has he been with you now?
I've had him for probably 4 years now. I got him through another organization.
Do you mind naming who that is, to say who was?
I'm sure they don't mind. Canines on the Front Line is a wonderful organization.
Is that a national organization or
Well,
regional?
They're founded in Portland, and there's another chapter in Missouri too.
Oh, I see.
So
okay.
yeah, but they've tailored their mission to just combat PTSD now, and that was where, in working with their founders and their organization, they told me they have calls all the time for sexual assault victims. Maybe they weren't military, maybe some were experienced military sexual trauma, but when I heard that they had a lot of calls they weren't able to help. It was the breakthrough moment where all of my counseling, all of my self-healing work just seemed to all come together and give me freedom once I had Gunner. I was finally able to go out without having a drink to take off the edge of the social anxiety or my PTSD. You know, it was really freeing to have Gunner with me by my side. I didn't feel alone. I felt that I could handle my day better with him here. And me being the one in charge, it wasn't the dog per se, but it was my ability to be in charge of my day. And I just felt, I just felt strong.
Gave you that purpose.
That's the only, yeah, it gave me purpose, and it gave me a schedule, having the dog and doing training and things. It kept my day kind of regimented. And I wanted every sexual assault survivor to feel this way. After having all this training and going through this, and talking with the founders of Canine on the Front Line, and talking to them, and they knew my story, we realized that a nonprofit could be started and needed to be started just for sexual assault survivors or military sexual trauma survivors, because there wasn't one. With their help, I was able to make the nonprofit legal. I did a social media post, which I hadn't been on social media for years, but I went back on and made a post asking for the legal fees just to get the company started, the nonprofit started.
Mm-hmm.
So because that was that's a lot for somebody that is on.
And you had to form a board.
Yes, yeah.
Talk a little bit about your board and the members. How is that? They must be a vital part of your mission and what you're doing.
Yeah, so I feel like this all has come together. Maybe you call it a God thing, maybe you call it fate, however you want to say. Bringing Service Dog Strong together and with the board members, it's like they just found me. It's like we all found each other, through because it was meant to be, And yeah, I found Kristen Stacy. She reached out to me through mutual friends, and I would have never known that we shared such close stories, and that her dogs and my dog were such a comfort to us and so helpful to our PTSD. Mm-hmm. So finding her through, just a series of random events, really was so important. And I felt with her on board and helping me start this, it was just a beautiful match. And then our behind-the-scenes volunteers on our board, having them come together and reach out has just been the most amazing thing to me. I never would have thought that my goal of just giving one other person, one other survivor a dog, that was really my only goal. I said, if I can just help one other person, like with a dog like that helped me, I would be happy, But now, 2 years later, we're on our third Service Dog Strong class, and we've been able to adopt, I think, 7 dogs now, and place them with survivors. So it's really come a long way, and I think it's just because out of a need, there's a real need for sustainable solutions for PTSD, mm-hmm. And we at Service Dog Strong believe that shelter dogs, turning shelter dogs, mm-hmm. Not using breeders as much as possible. Sometimes that is needed if we can't find a dog in a shelter, but we try to use shelter dogs as much as possible and turn them and take them through our training class and turn them into service dogs, and it's a real sustainable.
So there's evaluation process that has to be gone through for the animal and the possible client that you pair them up with.
Yeah, if I could walk people through our process,
Yeah.
and go kind of step by step. And so if there's anybody out there that's maybe interested in applying for our program, or just to get the information out there, what we do, we'll receive an application. We have applications on our website, and
The website is?
our website is sdsmaine.org, so it stands for serviceDogStrongMaine.org. You can grab an application there, and you fill out the application. We have strict requirements because we're not your typical service dog organization, whereas you don't receive the dog fully trained. Okay,
Right.
There's a lot of organizations
Understood.
that train the dog fully for the applicant, and you walk in and there's your dog. But we're a little different, and we're hands-on, and I think it's more helpful for our PTSD survivors to be involved in the training themselves.
It must build a tremendous bond to begin with.
Right,
The two
yeah.
of them, you work on that bond, which is critical.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. It's all about the bond,
Right.
and it's very special when you take the dog from the shelter with all its behaviors and all its past history, and you're able to, if the dog passes screening, to be able to be a service dog. We're very picky on finding the right dog.
Obviously,
So
sure.
yeah, so it's got to be a dog suitable to
Right.
be a service dog in the first place. But we do find them in shelters, and we're able to work with a really great another nonprofit, the Green Arc. I'd love to plug them because they've been such a big help for us.
The Green Arc?
The Green Arc, yeah, they are in Portland, Maine, and they take dogs from kill shelters and place them with loving homes. So we find a lot of dogs, and we work closely with them to find the right dogs from the shelter.
Right.
And so once we found the dog, we'll place it with the survivor. They'll fill out an application and tell us about their lifestyle and what's going on with them.
Sure.
And we have we need some doctor's notes and things like this.
So they have to be, I'm sorry.
Yeah, they have to
So,
be diagnosed with
officially diagnosed as with
Yes.
PTSD
yes, from a sexual assault.
from specifically sexual assault PTSD.
Yes,
Yeah.
or relating to veterans, we need to have a military sexual trauma diagnosis. So when you have that and you fill out the application, it will come to us, and we will reach out to you and do an interview. Sometimes we do a home visit to make sure that the survivor has adequate space for a dog and a lifestyle that can accommodate a dog into their family. And after the interview, if the board decides that the survivor would be a good fit for the program and is willing to do the work, we group them with a few other survivors, and we have a class. It's usually a small, intimate class, but the class will go out in public and get the survivors accompanied, used to working with service dogs.
Sure. You must have a trainer that's valuable.
Yes.
that-
Oh, of course.
Someone that's certified to do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have a very experienced, over 20 years experience in training dogs and police dogs and working dogs. So what our class will do, where we're different from other organizations. The survivors need to be fit enough mentally and stable enough to get to classes. We have classes once a week, and so the survivor is going to train their own dog under the guidance of our experienced trainer.
Right.
So they're going to be working one-on-one with their dog each week. They'll go to a class once a week, and then they're expected to do personal training at home each day with their dog. After the 20 weeks of doing this daily training, it's very rigorous, and it can be it can be a lot of work, and it is a lot of work, and it's hard work, but you don't have a reward without work, you know? So we do need the survivors to be well enough to be able to handle a little responsibility. And like I said, that responsibility will pay off in the end, but it can be a long, tough road. And the class is not easy. And I remember when I was in class, you know, sometimes you do feel like, you know, man, this is so much work, you know, and am I ever going to be able to take this dog in public, you know? But at the end, if you do the process and listen to the trainer and do your work at home, you're going to graduate from the class and have accomplished something and have a fully functioning service dog, fully trained, personally trained to what your needs are. And it's such a great accomplishment and a great feeling. I feel like training the dog yourself is more rewarding that way. And it also cuts down on costs, whereas you're not paying a trainer to be with each dog from the moment they're, you know, a puppy or the moment they have them. It's a real sustainable solution, and it, like you said, it helps that bond, and it just helps the survivor more in their life down the road, because they've had to do this work, and they've worked with the dog, and they've taken the dog from, you know, a wild shelter dog to a service dog that you wouldn't even know was in the room. With, you know, they're a wonderful solution.
It sounds a little, to me, I'm a veteran myself too. It
Oh,
almost
thank
sounds
you.
to me, oh no,
Thank you
thank
for
you.
your service.
Yes. It sounds to me as though it's kind of like a boot camp you're going through, because it's making me think back. I was a 17-year-old kid when I joined the service, and I really knew nothing. And I didn't even know I knew nothing. I just didn't, you know, you just follow orders and you do what you're told. And it seemed like it would never end, and it seemed like you never get through it. Well, we did.
Right,
and we did. And maybe it sounds like they have to be diagnosed, they're veterans, diagnosed sexual assault, PTSD.
Yeah, we also take
like
civilians too.
You do?
Know. Yeah, we take.
So they don't have to be veterans.
No, we're open to veterans with MST and also civilians with PTSD from a sexual assault.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, because there's not a lot of organizations out there that do this. So we found the need, and we're fitting in to help as many people as we can with sexual assault.
Right.
Yeah.
So if someone's at home watching right now and they're on the cusp, they're thinking about, geez, I want to reach out. There may be some barriers, whatever they may be. Yeah. What could you maybe help that person at home get over that hump to reach out and actually take that next step, which could be terrifying in some cases, I would imagine, to reach out to someone that they're going to have to do this. So what could you say to them to get them motivated to reach out?
Well, if there's any survivors out there, I want to, reach out personally and tell them you are not alone. We started Service Dog Strong because there weren't organizations out there, but now there are. We want to start a movement. We want the survivors to know that you're going to be hearing a lot more about this. We want, and through this program, having this message of there is help for PTSD. That's the message I want to put out there. That if you, no matter how your path comes about to find that healing, whether it's a service dog, whether it's traditional counseling, there's light at the end of the tunnel. 10 years ago, I was a totally different person, and if you keep trying and don't stop.
So there must be a great need. I did a little research on this. It's been in the news lately. The United States Senate is considering moving forward with some legislation regarding sexual assault in the military, which in my opinion, we're dismal at. It's a crying shame that these people can't, create these laws that are going to help people instead of the status quo for so many years. But what I found out was that 1 in 16 women and 1 in 143 men are estimated to experience sexual assault within the DoD, Department of Defense. Yeah. At the service academies, this is stunning to me. At the service academies, 1 in 6 women and 1 in 29 men experience sexual assault. Estimates for sexual harassment are 1 in 4 women and 1 in 16 men. And it says that most incidents of sexual assault and sexual harassment within the DoD, Department of Defense, go unreported. Their numbers are in 2018, there were 6,053 reported sexual assaults, compared with the estimated prevalence from surveys suggesting that over 20,000 service members were sexually assaulted. Ties in directly with the amount that are unreported. In 2019, the Military Service and the National Guard Bureau processed and investigated over 1,600 formal and informal complaints of sexual harassment. However, in a survey of active duty service members in 2018, approximately 119,000 individuals reported experiencing sexual harassment in the previous 12 months. So thereby being anonymous, there were so many more people being truthful about that. So this is a huge problem. This isn't something that's just, a handful of people. This is a lot of people. So Service Dog Strong is trying to fill that little niche because it seems that there's no path for them.
Right, in Maine anyway, before Service Dog Strong, there wasn't a nonprofit that would pair sexual assault survivors with service dogs. So here we are. Now there is, and we have survivors all across the country that actually reach out to us looking to be in our program. And it's unfortunate, but we can't help them. They have to be in person to do the class. So we're only able to help Maine survivors and veterans that are able to visit the southern Maine area and do the in-person classes. But that's showing you that if the people from California calling us, or Texas or Oregon, all the states pretty much have, we're the closest one that they're able to find help, so all over the country, people are looking for help with their PTSD from sexual assault. And the military is doing studies on service dogs, and they're finally saying, okay, this is helpful. And us at Service Dog Strong are going a step further and saying it's helpful for any form of PTSD, not just combat. It's helpful for if you've been sexually assaulted, and I think it's even more helpful in that situation because service dogs are very special with survivors, because survivors have been, their trauma has been put on them by a human. And the dog is not a human. So that connection and that strong bond to animals with a sexual assault survivor is very strong. It's very strong. And I feel like that's the reason that they're able to connect with the dog easier, and then we hope that connection leads to the personal connection where the survivor is able to open up and connect maybe more with their counselor or maybe more with a loved one, and open up a whole new world to them where they're comfortable with their dog and they're able to go in public and go to doctor's appointments and be more comfortable there. I want to reach those people that believe that a service dog might be in their plan, Service dogs are not in everybody's treatment plan. They come with a lot of responsibility, and we encourage anybody to research and find the difference between service dogs and emotional support dogs, and therapy dogs. But yeah, we focus on service dogs. And
so for the average person out there watching, there's something they could do as well. Maybe funding, volunteering, whatever. What would you say to the average viewer out there that may not have experienced something as traumatic as this, but yet maybe they want to help? How can they help? How can they help your organization?
Yeah, that would be wonderful. That's those type of people, the people that are supporters and friends of sexual assault victims. they are the ones that have really helped grow our organization. They're a big piece. The community support is one of the most important things, to stop the taboo and to help us reach other survivors. Share our page, like our page, share our page.
Facebook page.
Yeah, social media.
Website.
We're on Instagram too, and
yeah.
TikTok and all that. So it's just sharing can help us reach the right people. And of course, they can make donations on our website through PayPal or through Facebook. Yeah, a lot of, and the money equals programs. The more money we have, the more dogs we can adopt, the more survivors we can put through the program. We're a very low overhead nonprofit. We're all run off of volunteers. Nobody's paid. So the money goes 100% to the survivors and funding to buy the shelter dogs. So there's many ways they can help, and the main way is just easy. Just sharing our mission.
Now I noticed on social media, you guys are kind of creative. You're getting donations. You're raffling those off a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, the birthday fundraisers have been amazing. I mean, again, people from all across the country will start birthday fundraisers for us, and that is such a huge help to us in getting the message out there and knowing that there's other survivors that have been on the other end. Maybe they didn't even have a service dog to help them, but they've recovered and they just want to support other survivors and support the mission of making sexual assault not a scary subject to talk about.
Tell our viewers, how would they plug into that on social media? As a nonprofit, can they search you out on it and then they select you as the recipient?
Yeah, well,
how that works.
So they search Service Dog Strong, and Service Dog Strong Maine is our organization. So they just can find us on social media and share, and there's a donate button right on our website or on the social media. And it's all through PayPal, and every donation is tax deductible.
Now that could be really big, especially for some companies or corporations.
Right.
They're looking for those write-offs.
Yes.
You would be more than happy, I would imagine, to be that write-off for them.
Of course.
For these corporations. And we want them to understand the power of what Service Dog Strong is doing.
Right.
And what you can be doing and you could be doing more of.
That's right. I mean, having the knowledge that we've had survivors from all over the country reach out to us looking for help lets me know that this organization could be, or ones like it, could be started all over the country, and there would be enough survivors. But then again, this is a problem that we've had when we started. We had survivors waiting for dogs, but we didn't have the funding. We're like I said, we're very small. I'm a stay-at-home mom, so I didn't have anything but my ambition to start this and my drive to start this, and because of the need for it and the community support, we've been able to, like I said, hold 3 classes already, and we just the more money we have to do this, the more classes we're going to start, and the more people we're able to help with this. So.
So recently I've seen you folks on Facebook pulling names out and giving away or raffling off items. You want to talk a little bit about that and maybe some of the people that are donating to your cause?
Yeah, well, we have been trying new ways to find funding because, again, the list of survivors seems to be a lot longer than the list of donations that come in sometimes.
Sure.
So trying different ways to help survivors is all what we're about. So we did this awesome. We tried the raffle. And we had a lot of local community businesses reach out and donate items and individuals, and that was a huge success. And that was a lot of fun because what's better than winning something and helping out dogs and people,
Yeah.
So.
And you guys were doing that live on Facebook.
We did the live drawings.
Yeah, that was very cool. So you had some involvement from some of the folks that were following your page.
Yeah. Yeah, so we just hope that, if we do the raffle next year, we just hope that, more people will donate because there's that need.
It's a huge problem.
Yeah,
It's a
it
huge
is.
problem. It's much larger than I had any idea of. I knew it was a
Right.
problem.
Yeah.
I had no idea that it was just as
Well,
big as it is.
30,000 people that they diagnosed with a borderline personality disorder when it should have been, they were all related to PTSD and sexual assault.
So by them giving it that designation, that prohibits the person being discharged from getting VA benefits,
Yeah,
medical,
counseling,
any of
medical,
that.
yeah,
They simply
any
do it.
services.
No, that's wrong. That's just
Right.
flat out wrong.
Right, and then the military did finally acknowledge those 30,000 plus cases, and we were able to reapply and get an honorable discharge related to sexual assault in the military. They finally opened us up 10 years later to be able to receive help, and that's why I'm able to do this. I'm able to have benefits. I'm able to have counseling now. I was able to rebuild my life, now because I have my benefits that I should have gotten 10 years ago. But
Right.
anyways,
It's
that's
I've known someone personally in the past that was
Yeah.
sexually assaulted in the military.
Yeah.
And there was years that went by, and there was a lot of litigation that went on, and there finally was a settlement, well deserved. It was.
Yeah. But
it
they had
was
to fight for it.
Yeah, they had, and that's unfortunate. They shouldn't have
Right.
to do that. You sign up as a veteran.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a no-brainer. And most people would look at that and go, well, of course you should do that. Well, obviously.
Right, but they were trying
right
to cover
people
it
want
up,
to- sure.
and that was the whole diagnosis of, instead of saying, this person was sexually assaulted and has PTSD, they just said, okay, we're getting rid of you, we're throwing you aside, and you have this borderline personality disorder, and this huge stigma that wasn't correct, and all the time, these people, and myself included, were dealing with a huge trauma in their life, and they should have been given the resources and help. But again, now it's a new time, and now they're making right of the cases, and we're finally talking about this. And I think a lot of people are going to have a lot of healing come from this, and a lot of more help is available now.
Well, Stan, hopefully, some way,
Yeah.
this show today will touch that nerve with someone and give them the encouragement to step forward, reach out for help.
Yes, there's always help. If it's not with our program, there's other programs, there's even self-help YouTube videos. Please don't anybody listening today feel hopeless. It starts with you. You have the will to keep going. You're here for a reason. You made it through your trauma. Keep going. No matter how many years that trauma took from your life, you have so many more to keep living and keep fighting for,
Right. And you're sitting here as proof
Yeah.
that can be accomplished.
Yeah.
Yeah, by
Yeah,
just
exactly.
stepping forward.
You can't erase, what happened to
Right.
you, but you can focus on the future and you can move forward. And having Gunnar by my side and giving me that confidence was a huge help to me to finding healing.
You run into a lot of challenges and and this isn't probably an easy question to answer, but is there one thing that you find to be the most challenging for the organization?
Yeah, so I feel like our biggest challenge, and even getting from the beginning, has been awareness and finding the right support. From the beginning, when I started this, people, reached out wanting dogs. They wanted help, which makes sense because a lot, people searching our organization probably do need the help.
The other side of that coin is, what do you find to be the most rewarding part of what Service Dog Strong is doing?
The most rewarding thing about Service Dog Strong, there's so many positive things that have come from this and have really touched my heart in doing this, which I never expected. I didn't expect, when I started to share my story, I didn't expect anything really to come from this. But what's happened is I've found a huge community of wonderful survivors and supporters of survivors that have just naturally found us.
So once again, how could people do that? Reach out to you?
Oh, well, yeah, just find us on social media, or they can find us on our website. Yeah, which is www.sdsmaine.org.
Right.
So, yeah, that's our main.
And on Facebook, what was the name of it?
Yeah, well, it's the same, Service Dog Strong.
Right.
Yeah, and you'll see, you know, our pictures of the service dogs and stuff up there.
Right.
So, yeah, that's our main form of contact. And again, if there's any survivors listening or veterans listening, please, you know, do your research about service dogs and, you know, talk to your counselor. We do have a requirement that applicants must be in active counseling the whole time during our program. And it's helpful for them, and because, again, this training your own service dog isn't for everyone.
It sounds like the counselor would maybe really help complete the whole picture. You've got the trainers, you get the dog, but the counselor really helps the survivor understand and cope with what's going on.
It's very important that the survivors be in active counseling during the whole process, so that they have extra support when they're out in public and doing new things. I can't say one therapy was the cure. You know, there's no cure for PTSD. You know, there's no one thing that's going to make your PTSD magically go away. You know, my service dog was a key piece, but yeah, you know, the service dog is not going to be the one magic cure, but it's all about finding your perfect match. You know, whether it's the service dog and then you start exercising more. You know, it's all for the individual. And so they pair up wonderfully with survivors as an individual. If you find a good connection between a dog and good personalities, you can just have so much success and progress made through a person with PTSD and with their service dog, along with them going to, you know, traditional talk therapies or whatever program else they're in. I find, you know, and we've found with our program that the service dog accompanies all PTSD therapies very well. Yeah.
So we've covered a ton of stuff today. Is there one thing maybe that's come to mind that you would like to mention before we go, or something you'd like to emphasize before we leave?
I'd love to personally reach out and say, anyone suffering from PTSD, there is hope, there is help. There might not be as much help as there should be, but you are not hopeless no matter what you've been through. You know, we are, all us survivors have our own unique story, but if there's any survivors listening, we want them to please visit our website and find our application, sdsmaine.org. And any supporter that hears our mission and feels they want to help other survivors and other veterans, please find us on PayPal, or you can donate on Facebook.
What are you looking for? Certain board members?
Right now, we would love help with accounting and also help with grant writing. We could use some backstage help right now.
Right. Because there's a fortune available out there through grant writing, through grants. There are grants everywhere. It's just having that expertise to plug into it, like you say.
Yes,
so a grant writer is right up near the top. You need
we would love to have help with that in any way possible. We are definitely looking for that. Yeah, any survivor that is interested in learning about the program, please visit our website, and you can find the application there, and we would love to connect with you.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, let's keep this in mind. You've got an open invitation to come back anytime.
Oh, thank you.
So maybe a few months or down the road, we'll have you back.
Sure.
And see how things have progressed, and if we need to get the message out there for something different you're doing, or
awesome.
So
that would be wonderful. We'd love to come back.
Yeah, we want to come back. And I could see Gunnar, he's all excited. He's ready to come back. So anyway, folks, thank you very much for joining us today. If you are a PTSD sexual assault survivor, veteran, or otherwise, please reach out, Service Dog Strong. So thank you very much for joining us. I'm your host, Bobby Silcott, and we'll see you next time on Mainly Animals on LRTV.